Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hey everyone, welcome in to Daily Wolves. I am your host today, Chris, and with me as always is Will. Hello, Will.
Yep, hello. Happy Monday.
Well, there's a reason
The
reason I didn't lead with that, Will, is we are here giving our responses to this weekend's game, away to Aston Villa. And you know me, I'm Mr. Optimistic. I'm normally the one giving all the positive vibes. And what can I say? We are recording this on the day of the result. And so that might give some reasoning to how we may sound during this recording, because it's going to be a very natural response. And I'll tell you, Will, my optimism, Mr. Optimism here, I'm struggling.
You know what? I'm glad in a way that you've admitted that you're struggling, because I'm struggling to find. I wouldn't say I'm struggling to find any positives, because we looked great in the first half, but I'm struggling to find any positive feelings right now.
Yeah, indeed. And I mean, I'm sure by now everyone knows it. If you've been living under a rock, then the reason we're so glum is we lost 3-1 to Villa this weekend. And like Will says, I mean, I felt really positive. I mean, the first half was going really well. We looked like we have done in many games this season, where we dominated large periods, particularly the first half. Like, we looked at one point, I mean, call me biased, but there was a large period of the first half where we just couldn't seem to be controlling it. And I was like, we look like a dominant Premiership side here, which we should be, given the talent in that midfield alone. And I was like, 1-0 up, fantastic, with a great, I know it was good team pressing again, which led to the goal with Cunha with a brilliant finish, though. Still had a lot to do from like 25 yards out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, come on, we're in this. This is fantastic. And then just like the last few weeks, we've seen, leading to Newcastle, lose, leading to Chelsea, leading at points and then draw at half time.
2-2 at half time, but we were on top, and
so drawing at half time, lose to Chelsea, but we've thrown away leads in the last couple of weeks, and we've done it again.
I mean, it's a pattern that simply can't keep reoccurring. I mean, I'm really starting to worry for us now. I know it's still relatively early days, but I don't know what you can say, really. It just simply can't go on, and although I think he's got a lot of credit in the bank, I do think there's only one person responsible for this, and it is Gary O'Neill. I mean, it's just such poor game management.
Yeah,
it's unreal. I mean, it's almost amateur kind of stuff.
I don't know what is happening at half time, but it feels like the last few games, particularly, but most of this season, but particularly the last couple of games, where we're in the first half, whether we look like we're on song to win it, or just at least competitive and challenging and like a decent, game, we look well in control of games, and then half time comes, and it's like the opposite of the Nuno era almost, where we were always dominant in those second halves. But if anything, that's better, because at least you can close a game out that way around. This way round, it's all going catastrophic. And once again, it gets beyond like 70 minutes and it's all falling apart.
Yeah, I mean, I'll honestly, Chris, I don't know where to start with it. I think, I think what's the most frustrating or annoying or thing about it is just how predictable it all is. Just in general, everything about the club seems a formality right now. You can tell what's going to happen before it happens. I mean, when we looked positive and bright and were 1-0 up in the first half, and then going into the second, I kept saying whilst watching it, we need a second goal here, because if they get one, we will lose. And they looked like getting one because of the way O'Neill sent us out for the second half. But it just feels like that reoccurring sort of game plan is going to play out time and time again this season, and ultimately, it will lead to us in the season as a whole staying up. I think because there's just going to be three worse teams. That's even then we're cutting it fine because of the results.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? There's just such a feeling of just like it's just rinse and repeat.
Yeah, the scary thing is,
week.
and I think the thing that people are rightly getting worried about is after the last couple of matches, particularly given that it's now 1 point from 5 or whatever it is this season alone, and a lot of the talk in the post-match press conferences and things is Gary Neal talking, but we had this discussion about talking about teams being above us, but also again today talking about being in a fight and this kind of things. And we've got 3 Brazilian internationals in the starting 11. I mean, we've got arguably some top tier talent there that even with the ones that moved on this summer, there's big clubs want Aït-Nouri, there's big clubs want João Gomes. I say big clubs, we are a big club. My point is we are not a small fry fish, or we shouldn't be. We should not be thinking we are going to struggle to survive. These are teams we should be competing with, arguably. And just with the array of talent that there is there, the theme is turning. It feels more downtrodden, and you can see it the moment that equalizing goal went in. You knew we were going to lose.
You knew. Yeah, of course. And even before it went in, you knew it was going to go in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Because once again, we're falling deeper and deeper.
Yeah, but this is what I can't wrap my head around. You spoke about the quality there that we have. And there's 2 points I want to make off that. First of all, everyone saw the quality you were just on about and the ability in the first half. We saw that. We've clearly got the ability to control and dominate and win football matches. The quality isn't an issue.
Totally.
But,
and if I can pause you, we saw it once again because, for example, when we penned them in the first half at one point and we're pressing and keeping the pressure on, looking for a second, there was one point where it looked like the ball would kind of break away and Andre, again, just kind of I can't remember who it was, but he's just anticipated, shoved someone off the ball, and the way he turned and aggressively held possession and played it back in and just kept the pressure on. And he was doing that throughout that first half. Along with a bunch of others, but he was I thought fantastic for large periods again, and so we were doing it. You could see the quality, like you say, see the quality.
So what I don't understand, I mean, this is the big thing, isn't it? That O'Neill's piss poor game management. I have no other way of describing it. Is then when you go one in at halftime, 1-0 up. Villa are going to have to come out and give it a go. That's going to happen. I know it. You know it. They know it. Everyone watching
he knows it because he said that in his press conference. That he said he spoke at halftime about the fact that he put it something like no one wins at Villa Park in a canter. That Villa are going to come out and press or attack.
Well,
or whatever.
We're in the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly. So we know that.
Yeah.
But then, so what else is happening in that conversation for, like you say, for then the gradual. Instead of continuing like the first half, and going in on the attack almost, because the best form of defense is attack, right?
But that's exactly my point. I don't get why. Why not match them? Go toe to toe. Because you've got the quality. You've just shown for 45 minutes away from home that you've got the quality. So why on earth would you sit back and almost sort of accept defeat? It's just inviting the pressure on from the get-go.
Yep.
And I can't see... Yeah, all right, maybe in the last 10, 15 minutes do that. But why on earth would there be... Because it wasn't like the players weren't trying or anything. It was a clear and obvious tactical decision and a clear difference between the first half and the second half. And I just can't wrap my head around it. I just...
No, especially when we've shown we can't hold at this moment in time, for whatever reason. We are not holding a 1-0 lead. We haven't held a 1-0 lead in any of the games. So, no, just don't.
The best way of holding the 1-0 lead is to use equality and turn it into a 2-0
Yeah.
lead. You know, but it seems. I mean, obviously, it's all well and good us saying this now, but yeah, I'd just love to have been a fly on the wall in that dressing room at halftime to hear what must he have said. Do you know what I mean? Why tweak it? Why change it so much? It cost us against Chelsea, cost us against Newcastle, and cost us today against Villa. You know, because you see the opposition managers being proactive and trying to counter us when we're on top by making substitutions and changes which are working, which we then don't react to. We just sit back and just accept it and invite the pressure on and make things harder than they need to be, as if, yeah, like you said, as if we're not a established Premier League club with international players and, you know, the ability to win games. It just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know. While he tries to put his thoughts together on what he does or doesn't know, let's just remind everyone that this podcast is part of the Global Sports Podcast Network, the only network bringing you exclusive daily news, sadness, and views on your Premier League team, the Premier League, women's football, and fantasy football. A unique listening experience that puts fans first, bringing you the very latest breaking news from your team. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and make us your first listen every day. Global Sports Podcast Network. Every club. Every day.
Every day.
Thank you. Did you like? I did add the word sadness in there because of the current vibe.
Yes. Yeah.
I just think, I don't know. I've been at a loss all afternoon. This is only a few hours after the match has finished, and it just feels. I just feel drained. I think I feel deflated. Yeah. I feel lost, like you say, because I just don't understand how once again we look so dominant, so at times slick. There's points in that first half and I'm like, this is fantastic football. There's some brilliant stuff going on and I'm so proud of some of these players. I'm so honored to see some of them in a Wolves shirt doing what they're doing. Cunha again, love him, brilliant goal. And already mentioned Andre. There were some great performances and I'm saying I just a lot because I'm just trying to put together into my words what it is. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. So after recording the crossover episode with the guys at Daily Villa earlier this week, Joe from Daily Villa, he said to me after recording, and he was it's something he wanted to mention whilst recording because I'd spoken a lot about our quality, about how the midfield three we've implemented looks great, how good Cunha is, Strand Larsen, looking positive going forwards, Ait-Nouri being, so criminally underrated by the wider footballing world, and so on and so forth. And I think his point was, and it's a valid point for someone who's not a Wolves fan, was, well, if you're that good, why haven't you won, sort of thing? He was very much like, well, you talk about these players being unreal. Where's it going wrong? What's happening then? Because, if the players are that good, surely it's down to the manager. And at times, I've defended O'Neill a lot.
We both have.
And he's,
I think a lot of people have, not just us, people on other podcasts and all across journalism, because he did a lot less. Fair play to him last season, came in, short notice, did a great job to pull everything together, arguably because he came in with an uplifted mood when Lopetegui had maybe made everything feel very somber.
Yeah.
But then obviously maybe that morale, maybe, that initial, I mean, all managers get an initial boost sometimes, right? When they come in, if they come in with the right morale in opposition to what happened before. And we've both defended that. And at times he has shown some good spirit. But even I, at this point, as Mr. Positive, I'm getting a bit like, well, the performance at some point, it's all well and good having these great first half performances, but we need points. It doesn't matter if we're not winning.
I think I saw something like, and this might be wrong, but in 2024, we've won, I think it was like 5 or 6 games, full stop. Now, I know we talk about the not counting towards the end of last season with the players and the injuries and so on, but no matter how you dress it up, that's not good. That managers have been sacked for a lot less than that.
They have.
A lot
They
less.
have.
I'm not advocating for it, but I did put something out on my Twitter earlier. It's just a brief summary in my sort of reactionary, emotional words straight after the game was I'll just read it out for you because I put a little poll at the end. It was some of the worst game management that I've ever seen in my life. I'd love to know what O'Neill said to the players at halftime. We looked completely different when we came out for the second half. It was embarrassing. And just at the end of that, I just put a little poll for O'Neill in and O'Neill out. 90% of last time I checked, I had some just 20 plus votes. Like I said, I just put it out reactionary after the game. 90% of fans obviously take that with a great pinch of salt.
Yeah,
wanted him out, and I'm not advocating for that because I do think he's got a lot of credit in the bank. But I can understand the anger. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, polls in around this time are obviously going to have an element of bias to them.
Yeah.
However, I mean, we talk about credit in the bank. I think it was Ryan Lester who, I love your work, put an interesting line out, something about we've all said he's got credit in the bank. He's now in the overdraft. I think that was a great line because I think even to someone like me who has been very much trying to look at the positive, we are getting to a point. Yes, we all agree it's a difficult start to the season. But as we mentioned last episode, that we were together. Sorry, because you had the Villa one. But every game in the Premiership is tough, whether you're playing the top six or whether you're playing someone else. Because even the promoted teams are going to be fighting for their lives. So every game is tough. The run-in is the start is a difficult start. Yes. But we should still be getting points somewhere along the line from these various teams. We should have taken points from the last two games alone against Newcastle and today at Villa. Whether they should have been ending in draws or not, we should not have been losing both those games when we're 1-0 up with 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, there's no such thing as an easy game. It's an old football cliche, and never has it felt more true.
It's the collapse as well, though, right? Because
that's what I was going to say.
It's 1-1.
Defeatist sort of. Yeah,
it's gone to 1-1, and fair enough. I know Mosquera got injured, which we'll get onto in a moment because that looked horrific, and it looks sadly like he's going to be out for a very long time potentially. And God bless him. Santi Bueno came in. Santi. But obviously came into a tough situation late in the game when Villa had the pressure on, so difficult to adapt. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. However, Mosquera going off was a loss for sure. And then, but then the flurry came, and it was bad enough to concede the one, but then we try and push to go get further up the pitch to try and get something back from the game, and end up going 3-1 down. And it's it just capitulated again, and it just leaves you. And that was the bit that was deflating, I think. Not just the fact that we lost, but we then lost an extra goal, and it just all starts to feel so easy.
To be honest, after that second goal, I couldn't have cared less how many went in. I couldn't have cared less if it was another Chelsea sort of result. It's just the sheer sort of drop off that's so draining and so just depressing to watch, and especially when it's so predictable. I'd have a lot more time for O'Neill if in these results, we'd battled hard, done well, but we'd just fallen on the wrong side of it. That we'd lost to maybe a decision from a referee or a scruffy goal, and there were options like that. But those aren't excuses that you can use, and trust me, he's using excuses at times.
While you say, I obviously don't think at this point it had an impact on the result. I will say I thought the ref today had a shocking game. I thought there was points where, because obviously he booked both our fullbacks in the first 20 minutes, and yet equivalent tackles and various things were happening from Villa that did not get a single card. And I'm like, how is that? The couple of hours were just ridiculous. And I remember thinking, but again, it's consistent. It's about consistency. And I know I'm again, I don't think it would have changed what's happened in the long run looking at the bigger picture, but it just bugs me that It's consistency again across the board. It's little things, and because even when we were winning, I was thinking this. I was like, "What is he doing? Making some of these calls where I was getting really frustrated." And you could see the players getting frustrated as well from the Wolves side with the fact that he was making some odd decisions, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I just think the main point from it is, as you said, it wouldn't have changed anything, and that's not the reason we lost. The reason we lost was the tactical tweak and game management at half time. And I'd have a lot more time for O'Neill and so on if we were losing these games by fine margins and bits of luck, and things like that were costing us, but we'd given it 110%. We had gone toe-to-toe with Villa. We had sort of kept our high standards. But no, that's not the reason we're losing. The reason we're losing is because we're sort of playing. It's almost like anti-football. It's just sitting back, and we're letting teams. We let Chelsea do it. We let Newcastle do it. We let Villa do it. We let them play themselves back into the game, and that's what's the most sort of disheartening about it, I think.
It is when it's crushing the contrast, like we've mentioned. You see how good we can be, and then it all just seems to kind of just shut down a bit. And again, like you say, that has to be coming from the bench. It has to be coming from the manager in some ways, because it's consistent. It's a consistent thing.
Yeah, it's not the players, is it? No. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they're giving up. Apologies, by the way, if whilst I'm ranting you can hear the thunderstorm.
Oh, is that what that was?
Outside. Yeah, no, it's been really bad. A bit of pathetic fallacy, taking you back to GCSE English.
No, I thought it could have just been all of the Wolves fans, screaming out there, but
it's just the tears.
Tears falling from the sky. Before we get into Mosquera's injury and maybe any other final points on the game, because again we haven't really. I mean, we listed that Cunha scored a goal, which we mentioned was a great goal, and we haven't mentioned who the Villa scorers are. I mean, do we want to go over those? I really don't.
You know what, Chris? Can't be bothered.
No, I will say that Duran I don't think Duran will score an easier goal in his Villa career. But so let's take this opportunity quickly to remind people that if you out there like us have ranting and raving stories to tell about your views that the world needs to hear, have you struggled with reaching new audiences who are engaged with your story? It might be time for you to start a podcast. Let me tell you about a platform we use here at Global Sports Podcast Network. Zencastr makes it easy to start a high-quality podcast built for growth from day one. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes ums, ahs, you knows, and 22 other speech patterns, Zencastr makes it super easy to start a podcast that sounds great, even in defeat. Ready to tell your story? Check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr. I will touch on the Mosquera injury because that has saddened me. I saw tweets from Football Physio saying it looked like potentially. I mean, you could see on the replays it looked pretty nasty the way the opposing player came from the side and kind of his knee just went sideways. Looked like the left knee pivots into a valgus after contact with Rodgers, stressing the knee, the inner ligament of the knee, potentially MCL, potentially ACL. So, I mean, if it was an ACL, it's going to be 9+ months. If it's the MCL, it could be 2 to 10 weeks, depending on the severity. He's going to have scans to confirm the injury. Either way, it's basically quite a timeout. Let's hope it's not the ACL, because that's catastrophic. Because he had a nasty injury when he first came to us. And then just as he looked like he's starting to show us who he can be after these last couple of loans, it was going to be a great season for him. And now it's potentially going to, it's all going down.
Well, it's a good job that overall we've got off to a good start for the season and we've got enough points and things are going well, But and it's a good job as well. We never bought another centre
Well,
half.
that's where I
during
was
the
going to
summer.
say that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. But even that, this is my thing. You could predict it. You could see that this was going to happen. Everything that's a big issue at the club that's causing us problems and is costing us this season, glaringly obvious. It's so obvious, and that's I mean, Chris, I'm sure you can tell, but that's what's annoying me the most.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
I really feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I feel sorry for Mascara.
Yeah.
I really do, because I mentioned in preseason games when we started doing episodes that I thought he was going to have a great season, and it sounds bad. It sounds weird to say, even though we've been losing games. I still think he's shown how good he. I think without some of the performances he's done, the losses could have been even more severe at times because he has made some great challenges and things. And him and Dawson at times in the air. I mean, crosses coming into the box has not been that's not been a problem in the game. It's other elements of the game. But sorry, go on.
Can I just say something? Yeah, just whilst we're on the topic, you know who I don't feel obviously sorry for is Morgan Rogers. I think personally it's a disgrace. I'll tell you why. Not only had he sort of gotten loud, if you like, during the week ahead of the game, which I don't mind that. You know, I'd be concerned if he was sort of praising Wolves, and you know, I don't mind a bit of that from a player because I know I'd like it if it was on my side. But he was the one who left one on Mosquera, which was also in this. The whistle had gone, a foul had been given just before the contact happened, and then he came steaming in.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Into the side of him, you know, completely unnecessarily, just for his own sort of, you know, ego, just to leave one on him, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, completely unnecessary. You've sort of seriously injured a fellow sportsman, and it's gonna, you know, if it's as bad as it looked, which unfortunately it did look bad, it's gonna massively impact our season, I think.
Yeah, I mean, now we've got Dawson. It's presumably potentially for the next game going to be Dawson and Santi Bueno because Totti's still carrying an injury, I believe, and arguably, you know, you need him as cover at left back as well if Aït-Nouri has any issues. But yeah, that leaves Totti, Bueno, and Dawson as the three main centre backs.
Yeah,
and
I mean the three main ones, the three only ones.
Yeah, I mean outside of that, after that you're going to the likes of Pond in the under 21s, but and this is something like you say we were looking at. Everyone said all summer after Kilman went, and they knew that there was offers coming in, you know, that was happening potentially, and so to not have filled that void now seems like an even bigger mistake.
Just stupid.
And
it's just stupid.
That is going to increase the how shall I put it, the negative feelings toward Fosun. There's going to be a lot more ripple effect from that because now people are going to be moaning about the fact we didn't pitch up the money for a centre back. We did put in for some, didn't even go. Was it? I can't remember the name. That defender from West Ham. We had these discussions in pre-season, so I'm trying to wrap my brains now. The point is, we were priced out of 2 or 3 centre backs, and we were like, no, that's too much money. And now maybe, you know,
now we're paying
literally paying the price in the other way.
But again, I'll tell you this now: we're still going to be fine. We're still going to stay up. I do believe that, not because I believe in Fosun or O'Neill or the way we've been playing, just because we've got just about enough quality to scrape some results, and there'll be 3 worse teams, you know, and it's just such a mundane and depressing way to go about a season that, to quote O'Neill, a season in which we're going to push for Europe. That's the plan.
Yeah, I mean, again, the thing that it is just like we are so polarizing in the fact that, and when I say that, what I mean is, I feel like most of the goals we've scored this season have been beautiful goals.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you think back, was it the goal against Newcastle with the beautiful step over? You know, that beautiful piece of play. I'm trying to wrap my brains now, but every goal we have scored to me has just been like, wow.
I mean, you mentioned Cunha's today. He did brilliantly to not only intercept it, but to touch it past Onana.
Yeah, because it was
I thought that. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I thought he wasn't going to get back to it in time, and he had to correct his feet because it was a very quick touch, but then just still like beautiful finish.
Yeah.
And so it feels like we do these exquisite things with some brilliant team play, and then, you know, and then it just all falls apart. And quite frankly, Will, at this point, it's Saturday night and it's late, but I don't know where we go from here, to be honest.
Well, I'm going to, as we wrap up the episode, what I'm going to do, Chris, is just, when you're facing difficulties in life or whatever, and one technique I found quite useful is to just run away from all your problems. What I'm going to do here, I'm just going to finish us on a high.
Please remember that Will is not a therapist, everyone.
I think I need one after watching us this season. But I'm just going to finish it on a high. I'm going to give you three good things, not all relevant.
Okay, I've thought of something I want to end with once but you can go first. Go first.
Okay. First of all, I love Andre.
Yeah, well said.
I just think he's a class act. Second of all, I can't believe I didn't mention it.
Can I just say sorry? At this rate, Andre will be gone next summer.
Oh yeah, I'm whether we stay, join him. To be honest,
whether we stay up or not, I feel like already within 2 games.
Look, I think if he gets past the January window, we've done well.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't mention this last week, but I saw Robert Plant at the game.
Oh, congrats!
So as you can
for
see,
the audio listeners out there, Will is wearing a Led Zeppelin t-shirt today, so proud of you, Will.
With my Led Zeppelin records and posters in the background, so I was loving that.
I remember, we're going to wax lyrical on random stories now, but so you mentioned Robert Plant, I can't not. I remember more than a decade, going back now, some time ago, I went to watch Careen Around at the in the Civic Bar. This is years gone by. And for anyone who knows Careen Around, brilliant artist from Wolverhampton. And I was stood in the crowd at the Civic Bar, because it was that smaller gig. It's in the bar at the back of the old Civic. And next to me in the crowd was Mr. Plant himself. And next to him was his son, Logan. And
did you know he's the founder of Beavertown, the drinks?
I did not, but thank you for that.
Every day's a learning day.
Anyway, so we had a nice little chat and watched Careen Around together, and that's a memory that will always stick with me. So bless him, he was a lovely gentleman. And I thought, because he also really enjoys going to watch local, like Wolverhampton-based musicians and artists. And so I thought that was really fantastic that he was just there in the midst of everyone in this small, less than probably 100 people in the room, and just watching Careen Around. So fair play.
Chris, I love him. But I didn't get to speak to him like you.
Yeah.
And speaking of people who I've seen but didn't get to speak to, it's a very niche category now to finish us up for today's episode. I saw the whole Spurs squad the other night.
Okay.
I was on my way back from work, and where I work, there's a little hotel where essentially if a team's playing Villa or Blues or, Albion, maybe, they'll stay at this hotel 9 times out of 10. And I saw Big Ange and Sonny sort of said hello to Madison and what have you.
Did they tell you to F off? No.
Nah.
Nice. Okay.
Right. Well, no, they were. I mean, I wouldn't say they're not nice, but they weren't hanging around. I'll put it that way.
Okay, well, I can understand that. However, I'm going to try and end on my usual, bring back my Mr. Positivity vibes and just say that, just remember everyone, out of darkness cometh light. So, on that bombshell, it's been an amazing... Well, actually, no, it has been an amazing day.
No,
it hasn't been.
Yeah, no, it hasn't.
What I was going to go with that is it's been amazing to talk with you, Will, and let some of this out of my system. That's where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Because it's good to talk, people. So let it out.
Yes.
Let it out, so it'll just fester, and then you're just going to feel even more anxious.
Yeah, don't take my advice.
No, don't take Will's advice and run away. Talk to people. All right. So thank you, Will. Thank you, everyone. And we will speak to you next time.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.